Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for round 2. We lost the die roll, our opponent is keeping his hand, and I believe that we are keeping as well. Our hand satisfies the 3-drop test, and Ledge Seeker should provide enough of a blocker to get going with our better cards, so not going to mulligan this hand, also because it has perfect mana. And once again, this is the hand where you want to draw a 2-drop really badly. But I don't think it's possible to mulligan into a hand with a 2-drop, not with this kind of deck. And we got there. I mean, we had 2 draw steps to find a cheap creature, and of course the Guardian is probably the best one we could draw. Even if he kills it, it means that he isn't doing much with his turn, and our curve is coming up very nicely. The fact that he didn't play a 3rd land until now also helps, of course. Swamp Walker, not something we want to see, but we'll have to figure out a way to deal with that one. Now we have the option between Corpse Traders and the Mystic. I think both creatures could be able to attack next turn, and the Mystic is going to draw us another card. We probably have to cast Vanishment on the Explorer if he equips it next turn, so we might not draw a card anyway. Yeah, I think drawing the card is less important than dealing the most amount of damage. And we might even use Vanishment and this in conjunction to get rid of the Swamp Walker overall. Now, we'll have to see how it goes, but it sounds better to me to get the stronger creature on board, especially because we are not lacking ways to generate card advantage. If he equips, we go down to 13, but we're actually quite fine. Doing quite well. As expected. We're actually racing this quite nicely, I think. And I'm going to keep open Geist Snatch here. Now I can still cast Vanishment to prevent the most amount of damage. I think we should be safe from most cards he could have. But of course you can never be sure. This block looks like a very good thing for us to happen. Now, I don't think he's going to give his guy protection or anything, so I can wait if he plays anything first. Okay, now the Trident is he's playing right into my hand. I'm keeping open my mana for Vanishment, and he just skips his turn basically. But it's the right play. I mean, he's killing me exactly. If I didn't have the Vanishing, I would have had to activate the Corpse Traders probably, to make sure that I don't die. And no, I'm killing him, exactly. Yeah, that's that showed some of the aggressiveness of this format. But thankfully I had all the right answers, and the Guardian also helped immensely. Now this is a matchup where I definitely want the Frailty, and it's also the reason why I built my decks like I do. So I think Geist Snatch might not be the greatest card. Vanishment is of course insane against his Tridents, but I don't have that many cards that are great against the Trident. I suppose Vanguard's Shield could do something, but I probably just want all the cards I'm playing right now. 2 Geist Snatches once is quite a lot if he manages to play around it, but I still like it as a cheaper spell than Grave Exchange. This is an interesting hand. We are on the draw, and if we manage to draw a Swamp, we are easily controlling this game with the cards we have. We also have a solution to his Swamp Walker and nice cards against his equipment. If we don't draw the Swamp, we do have the turn 1 Smuggler against his 2/1 haste creature, and if we draw a 3rd land, which we can expect, we can Crippling Chill to hopefully draw into a Swamp. So I think I'm not going to mulligan this. This is a borderline hand, but it has the potential to be so good with a single Swamp against his deck full of equipments that I like to keep it. Drawing the Miracle there was not really the right turn, but that's how it goes. Next turn I could have cast Banishment for a single blue, and we are getting quite lucky here. I mean, top decking the Swamp is crucial to keep this in check, and I expect him to equip it so that I'm going to Deathwind in response. I don't want to risk anything here. I could easily lose just to this creature alone, and I think I have a good shot to beat his deck otherwise. So, Fervent Cathar. Yeah, if I play the Crypt Creeper, he wouldn't be able to go for the Cathar. But I don't think I'm losing this game because I'm taking 2 damage, so. We are going to have to play against a potential 3/2 Vigilance creature, but he has to spend his turn equipping, so if he doesn't equip, I might even block with the Smuggler to have another 2 power creature left on my side of the board. But, well, if he doesn't attack, that's also fine. And if he equips his Angel, then we need to probably use Crippling Chill. Well, the Smuggler could be good in the later stages of the game, but I want all the options of trading with a 1 toughness creature that he equips with Bladed Bracers. I think that his deck relies so heavily on equipments that it's important to have the creatures that trade with them. Sadly, this game he isn't really forced to use the equipments yet because things are going so well for him. Now, this turn I could Crippling Chill and hopefully draw into something, and I don't think it's getting much better, so I need to draw the lands anyway to get started. Now this is a Ledge Seeker, which allows me to Ledge Seeker and Frailty, and then keep open Geist Snatch for next turn. And that seems better than not casting anything this turn. Could also drop Corpse Traders at some point, but we still have the shot at getting some tempo out of our opponent if he ever equips the Bracers. Of course, the lifelink from Seraph of Dawn is going to be problematic, and if he also equips the Trident, then we really need the land for a banishment. But if we draw a 5th land here at some point, then we should be quite fine being able to bounce the Angel and then counter it with Geist Snatch, which is also the reason why I'm going for Corpse Traders now. I simply don't want to counter his next creature spell, especially because he's just not very likely to cast a creature at all. Equipping this just gives him so much life. He still only has us on a 3-turn clock, so it's not that big of a deal. I drew the first Gryff Vanguard, which means that I don't have the chance to use the Smuggler on it anymore. But I think we are doing quite fine here. We just have to hope that he doesn't have another evasive creature. Now I'm going to Evanishment his creature, and he's going to draw it next turn, which we can then Geist Snatch. And hopefully he doesn't have the Swamp Walker, for example. That would be the worst case. Okay, yeah, it's the Swamp Walker. Any other creature I could have simply blocked with one of my other creatures, so wouldn't have been a problem. Thankfully he doesn't equip here, so that I can counter the Angel, get the Spirit, and then have 2 more turns to draw something and raise him as well, so that's good at least. Okay, the Shade is not going to be fast enough, and I basically need to find the Deathwind, having already played the Frailty. So sadly I don't have anything to run my Corpse Traders into his Explorers, and I also don't think there's anything I can bluff there, so I don't think I need to keep open a blue. And there's the Deathwind. We are certainly not drawing badly here. In fact, I think we might even kill him next turn. Depending on what he does. He didn't equip, so probably has something very good. Okay, yeah, that's something that's pretty good. Okay, this is Second Geist Snatch, which is not going to help us. Now the problem is that the Seraph is going to be lethal and lifelinking, so we need to block it with the Spirit, but that's okay. However, of course we don't have a good attack, so depending on what he does, we need to see what kind of spell we want to play, and it really depends on how he tries to win the game. If he goes for the Trident on the Explorer, we are forced to use it on the Explorer. If he goes for the Trident on the Seraph, then we can maybe try to deny him too much life and beat him on the attack back. Sadly we didn't draw land, otherwise we could have also Deathwinded the Seraph of Dawn. If he doesn't equip at all, we might even be able to Geist Snatch something else. Okay, he equips the Explorer, so we are going to have to Deathwind that one, and I expect him to attack with the Seraph of Dawn as well. No, he doesn't. Okay. So let's just kill this. Now he does have quite a good creature here, but it has to attack each turn. So despite the life he's going to gain, we might be able to work something out to beat him. Now he's going to gain 8 next turn and have this on defense, so we aren't really winning this game. Now I don't know if we can actually draw something, and maybe we mistakenly blocked with the Smuggler, because it would have given us an infinite blocker in Gryff Vanguard, so that might have been a mistake. If this was instant speed, we could just kill him now, because he wouldn't have a good block. But that's also not the case, so let's see. I could Geist Snatch, leave open Geist Snatch, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think I want to Corpse Traders him to make sure that he isn't beating us next turn, and then go from there. I still have the option to assemble 6 power of flying, but this is not something I wanted to see. I mean, I was hoping that he has like maybe 1 good creature and that's it, but in fact he has Voice of the Provinces and Hound of Griselbrand. That's quite the hand. So I'm going to take away the Hound, and then I probably should also get rid of his Voice of the Provinces, because I'm not beating another flyer now that I've tapped out of the Geist Snatch. The problem is that I'm going to have to block with the Spirit next turn, which means that the Vanguard is also going to be chump blocking very shortly. But well, yeah, I don't think it matters. Like if I allow him to have the voice, I'm also not winning, so and we drew some very good cards in this game, but somehow it just didn't work out. And it might have been connected to blocking with this guy, but also that he had basically a lot of worst case cards for us. And he has another flyer. We don't, so now basically we have the option to Geist Snatch one of our own spells, keep us alive another turn. Doesn't sound like a great idea. In a situation like this, Grave Exchange would have been a very good card, so we might want to have it. Even though it's not really great against his deck, it's going to help in a lot of matchups. Okay, I made the wrong block here, but it doesn't really matter, I believe. I do have to block with the Moonlight Geist with the Vanguard so that he can't keep it alive. Or that if he keeps it alive, then I keep my Vanguard as well. Yeah, I'm going to concede now. I'm not beating the life-linking angel. The swing is just too much. So I think Grave Exchange is our best and only option. So I want this in and probably the second Geist Snatch to go. It's the card that he has seen multiple times now and that does the least for us. So I think we should try it like this. We're going to play first, and we have a difficult hand once again. Without black, we can't cast the Deathwind, but we do have a turn 3 Ledge Seeker if we draw a third land, and from then on things should be okay. But we only have 2 draw steps to find the land, and if we don't find it, then we are basically done with. I think this hand is reasonable, but I don't like to keep it, simply because there is a lot of starts that I simply lose to. For example, the Falkenrath Exterminator followed by Fervent Cathar start, I can't reasonably beat with this hand, so going to mulligan. And then I'm going to keep this unexciting hand without blue because it has 2 true drops. We are going to need to draw 1 island at some point, but hopefully we draw our cards in the right order so that we don't skip a turn basically. This is a good start, of course, and we are going to go with the Guardian here, and I do have to keep the Crypt Keeper on defense this turn, just because of the danger of Fervent Cathar. If he Fervent Cathars and attacks me for 5, I'm taking a couple of damage that I don't really need to take. So Lone Revenant is going to be great once we draw another island, which makes basically only swamps a bad draw from now on. So I would kind of like to attack, but there is still the danger of Fervent Cathar, and I also need the Deathwind to deal with the Explorer. I'm not casting it right now because I want him to cast any equipments he might have, and I probably also have to wait to see what he drops. But the problem is, if I draw a 5th land, then I want to be able to drop my Revenant if possible. So I'm going to Deathwind here. It's the Explorer is certainly a card I have to handle, and with all the equipments in his deck, any unblockable creature is a problem. So I'm never going to block this one, so I'm actually fine with this. This is kind of bad because it makes my Crypt Creeper. It kills my Crypt Creeper, but the Crypt Creeper isn't the most important card here. I'm also still not going to attack, even though it could deal 2 damage here. I don't want to risk getting blown out. And sadly I drew a Swamp, which is kind of the worst card to draw. This turn is really bad for me because I'm basically wasting a whole turn where I didn't do anything, and instead I could have drawn a spell or cast one of my creatures. I was hoping he doesn't have the Angel because he played the Tapper first, but of course that's fine with me. And we drew a Miracle, which isn't doing much for us, but well, actually we don't have to cast it now. I think we gave it away because of the pause, but that's fine. I didn't change my Magic Online settings or anything, so let's just hope he has some kind of equipment and we can bounce the Seraph. Although it would probably be better if he doesn't have any equipment, because it means that we take much more damage. Okay, he isn't equipping. That's interesting. Okay, he probably wants to tap my creature. That's fine. And means that he's going to equip next turn, but not if I Banishment now. I could still Banishment later, but if I draw an island, I want to cast my creatures, which is kind of what I have to do anyway. So I'm going to Banishment now. Okay, this is not going very well. Now, the Revenant isn't going to help much, and I'm going to start taking 5, and him gaining 5. So I basically need to kill any evasive creature he draws, which I probably won't be able to. I need to draw a second Deathwind to deal with a Seraph, and then see how things go from there. It seems like he might not have anything else. Maybe one more spell in hand. So there's a chance that I draw well enough to get out of this. But it's not very likely. The tridents really are really great in his deck. So okay, this is just brutal. I don't know how many Seraphs he has, but him always getting the lifelink creatures equipped was definitely a problem. I don't get why he equips his striker here. Every attack with Seraph of Dawn, with an equipped Seraph of Dawn, is just so good for him. And I'm happily blocking here. The Lone Revenant wasn't drawing me any cards, so no, things aren't looking too bad. I can Grave Exchange, killing his guy. Sadly, not the Seraph. So I probably have to hope to draw into my Human Frailty. So if he equips now and starts beating me down, I have Human Frailty as a card to kill the Justiciar, and then use Grave Exchange to get rid of the Seraph. Sadly, I don't have that much time, but thankfully I'm on 17, so I actually have 2 turns to find an answer. But somehow he isn't playing this as aggressively as he could. Maybe because he drew a creature, which would be bad. But this looks like he wants to keep open the tap target creature effect of the Justiciar, which I don't really get. This doesn't make any sense to me. He's preventing 3 damage by keeping open this tap effect, but he could have just gained 3 more if he equips. So now in fact he doesn't tap at all, which makes me think that he might have some kind of trick in hand, but currently I don't have the luxury to play around anything, I believe. So I'm going to go for I top deck the Frailty, which was basically what I was hoping to draw last turn. And now he does tap, okay. So we managed to get rid of the human, and we can now cast Grave Exchange on Crypt Creeper or Lone Revenant. Lone Revenant is going to be a 4/4 hexproof, which is good. There is some reasons to go for Crypt Creeper, because we know that he has Defy Death in his deck. So there's actually a reason to get back the 2/1 instead of the 4/4 hexproof. And I think the reasons aren't the worst. I think I'm very likely to lose this game if he gets another flyer into play, but it's not that important if I have a 4/4 hexproof or a 2/1 ground creature. So I'm going to go for the Crypt Creeper. Might be a bad idea if he already has the Defy Death in hand, but it does allow me to negate any later Defy Deaths he might draw. It's also good against the Undying Hound, which he showed us earlier. Okay, so we got back Crypt Creeper to deny Defy Death, but he had it in hand already. Or he drew it, we don't know, but sadly this means that our nice plan isn't going to work out. And we also didn't top deck anything, so we are most likely dead to him equipping Seraph of Dawn. Which is a pity. I mean, if he doesn't have this in hand but draws it once we drop Crypt Creeper, we might actually be able to win this game. I'm not saying that we were favored, but I think we could have easily easily done it. Thankfully, this is a Swiss draft, so I'm going to be able to play the last round as well. Okay, let's see if I can win another round.